it's not really newsy, but more Islamic. You remember this hadith? Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so narrated Aisha, Allah's apostle said to me, "You have been shown to me twice in my
Oh,
dreams. A man was
dirty
carrying
dreams.
you in a silken cloth and said to me, 'This is your wife.' I uncovered it, and behold, it was you. I said to myself, 'If this dream is from Allah, He will cause it to come true.'" Okay, so this is a Sahih Bukhari hadith, and this is essentially the Prophet stating how when he first had a dream about Aisha, and then when he saw that baby being held, he was like, "She's going to be my wife."
Right.
You concur with that story, right, Horace?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. So I was reading a bit more of the life of Muhammad, and
Mm.
I'm not sure if you've seen this, but I basically, hold on, let me just get it up. I came across this, and I don't know. Let me know if you've seen this before, because I thought that that was the one instance where the prophet had like talked about, almost literally like a baby that he'd envisioned to be his wife.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
There's another
so
girl. Like, if I'm alive, he even said that
yes,
if
I
I'm
just want to bring
alive.
this up because I read it today and I was just like, oh, that
How did you not
like
know this? This
he
is very
died.
famous.
Right. No, because I always get the argument that he's only ever done it once, and that was his only intention once was to marry somebody who was literally a child.
As he got
Um,
older, he was becoming creepier and creepier.
Yeah, so but this just like really hit it home for me today that it's not a one-off. This guy has these thoughts for little like babies that he sees. So this is the life of Muhammad, page 311. Um, and just this part I want to focus on. So in the Riwayah of Yunus, which is like in the how do you say riwayat in like in English? Tradition.
Tradition? No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the
well,
I don't know
there's
the
another
exact
word for.
in the
Yeah,
custom, riwayat, tradition, custom, I don't know. Anyway, something like that.
it's a chain of narrations. Basically, that's what they mean by riwayah in that
Yeah,
context.
like
In
coming
the
from
context of hadith.
the narration
Yeah.
of Yunus in this
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
through
recorded
Yunus, we've learned through Yunus that, and obviously behind that, if you dig further into it, you'll see the whole chain of narration. So
yeah.
so what the last one, the original one, they call that through his reference. So we
Yeah.
heard that. Yeah.
So it basically goes on to say, I recorded that the apostles saw her, al-Fadl, when she was
Yeah.
a baby crawling before him. You okay. Okay, when she was a baby crawling before him and said, "If she grows up and I'm still alive, I will marry her." But thankfully, he died. I added thankfully, it's not in there. So, but he, brackets, as Muslims like to do, thankfully died before she grew up. And Sufyan bin al Aswad bin Abdullah al Asad married her, and she bore him Rizq and Lubaba.
Lubaba.
So this girl was saved literally due to the Prophet's death. Otherwise, she'd be another Aisha in the making.
Look at this. Yeah, sorry, go on, keep on going. He said, Dave! Say Dave. I've got
Yeah,
another Paki for you, friendly Muslim. I've got another one for you, but I'll show you that. But anyway, finish your point.
Um, yeah, and I just on the back of that, I also just want to share this because I was just reading some more between. So this is the kind of thing that this other poor girl, if she grew up while the Prophet was still alive, would be subjected to. This is the kind of stuff Aisha had to deal with. So Hammam bin al-Harith narrated, Aisha had a guest to whom she lent a yellow wrap for him to sleep in. He had a wet dream and was
Ooh.
too embarrassed to send it to her while the traces of the wet dream were present
Oh,
on it. So
you
he's
mean
obviously,
come.
yeah, it was covered in cum, clearly. And he was too
Liberal one.
embarrassed to give it back. So he had just all over this. Oh God. So he submerged it. Poor guy is like, how do I get rid of this? Let me put it in water. Washing
Ooh.
it in water. And then he
Yeah.
sent it to her. And
Ooh.
Aisha, poor girl, because of what she's used to, said, "Why
What
did he
the?
ruin our garment? It would have been
Re-
sufficient for him to scrape it off with his fingers. Sometimes I would scrape it off the garment of Allah's messenger with my fingers."
Yeah, there's so many of them.
And this is
This
the
is Jamia
reference, just in
Tirmidhi.
case. Daif guy, this is Sahih now.
Jamia
So,
Tirmidhi 116. Yeah, but
yeah.
they said that's okay, like scratching come off, like it's like super glue there, so you just scrape it off. So anyway, so the Dave guy, do you have anything more on that? But Dave guy, but just on the note, very quickly,
Yeah.
I think we need
Yeah.
to, because we stay on the same topic. Just on that note of Muhammad marrying little girls, and he said the Dave because he's embarrassed. But look at this one, there are multiple sources confirming Aisha's age was 9. It's in Bukhari, Muslim, Nasai, Abu Dawud, Ibn Majah, Ibn Sham. It's everywhere through different chain of narrators. But look how, you know how we said that Muhammad himself had so many wives, but he actually did not Ali to have
Another
a
wife.
second wife?
Yeah.
And not only just that, he actually, I just learned that, this part I learned that recently, Ali was actually already married apparently. I haven't been able to confirm that, but apparently, actually no, then I shouldn't say that because, you know, this could be fake news. But
Yeah.
but he didn't marry anyone else. He didn't let Ali have a second wife because he said that would hurt my daughter. He was such a hypocrite. But again, listen to this one. You know this one? And well, obviously you probably do because you might have already known before that as well. But this is it. He was such a hypocrite. It was narrated, this is Sunan Nasai 3221 against Sahih Hadith. It says, Abu Bakr and Umar, both of these guys who had given their daughters, Abu Bakr being the father of little Aisha, may Allah be pleased with them, they proposed marriage to Fatima, Muhammad's daughter. But the Messenger of Allah said, she's young, she's too young. Then Ali proposed marriage to her and he married her to him. And she wasn't like nine or anything. She was, you know, like maybe, I don't know, 13, 14 or something. And he said, no, you are an old man, Abu Bakr. Shame on you. But Abu Bakr must have been like, but you married my daughter. And
She was older than the age Muhammad married Aisha, you know?
yeah.
Particularly, like, what is that double standard you're playing at now? And then
you know, in old cartoons and Tom and Jerry and all that, we used to see when Tom has been fooled by Jerry the mouse, and then he would look himself, and then he would look himself in the mirror, and there'd be that would be replaced with the head of a donkey, like a jackass. I think that must have been the feeling of Abu Bakr. Jackass, haha, I got your daughter, but you ain't getting mine. and obviously, you know, like this goes without saying. I'm only showing one instance, but there's so many of them. This is just one, the Bukhari one, 5134. The Prophet married her Aisha when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. Poor Abu Bakr tried to get out of that too, but you are my brother, Muhammad. In Tabri, I think it says that he was, but she's too young. He's like, no, it's Allah's will. Kind of one that you shared. The original one where Muhammad always had it. His best buddy, his fake ID was Allah. Look, I'm sorry, I don't want it. Allah wants me to marry her. So imagine having a sidekick like Allah.
Yeah, exactly. And sorry, just to wrap up this little hadith segment, I have seen so many hadiths like going around Twitter about how like the Prophet and Islam encourages like them to free slaves, but like straight from the horse's mouth, no pun intended. This is what I mean. That there are some hadiths obviously which are in favor of like them manumitting a slave, but again, you can find the complete opposite. And this is just one example where the Prophet basically, so narrated Maymuna, the wife of the Prophet, that she manumitted her slave girl, and the Prophet said to her, you would have got more reward if you had given the slave girl to one of your maternal uncles. Yeah. So this is an instance where instead of being like, well done, wifey, you did the right thing. Like, what are we doing with slaves? What is this kind of backward nonsense? I'm a prophet of God. Surely I know that slavery is wrong. He's saying, oh, actually, you would have gotten more reward in the eyes of God if you had given this slave girl to be raped and abused and sexually molested by one of your maternal uncles. So there we have it. You can get both sides, but that's
a difficult one to get out of. That's a difficult, because normally, because there are some other hadiths where they say that slaves are still a commodity. Okay, so we've established that. Look, it was just the law of the land, time, blah blah blah. They hide behind that, but they say, well, we encourage manumission. But there was another instance. There's another hadith where, where this guy dies, and they say, well, hang on, the couple of slaves are freed.
Oh,
but
yes.
His children bring them back, and they say, no, sorry. The children own them now. So they say, well, sorry, Muhammad ideally wouldn't want it, but he's just doing it because that's just the law. But here, he's actually proving that actually sharing them is better than manumission.
And because it's a female slave, give it to your maternal uncles. And this really, for me, strongly echoes in my video when I talk about the farewell sermon. That last line in the original farewell sermon, that when he says, you know, like Allah has given women for you to have the enjoyment of their persons. This is that for me in action, is basically like, why free a slave when she could be enjoyed, her person could be enjoyed by these uncles that you have? Like, why do a disservice to them by freeing this human being? So yeah, I just wanted to share that. If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.